guys. This is Frank and Mike, and this is episode 18, I believe it is. And today's show, we have quite a bit of things to discuss. We're going to start off with the NFL, the big trade that took place this week with the Chiefs and the Dolphins, with Pro Bowl wide receiver Tyreek Hill going to the Dolphins for multiple picks, as well as other NFL news as well that took place, particularly with the Bears making a couple of signings this week. And then we're also going to get into NBA, of course, the struggling Chicago Bulls, and losing, I don't know, like 7 out of the last 10 or something like that. They're in a really bad downfall. And we're going to get into some Jimmy Butler talk. He had a little bit of scuffle there with Eric Spoelstra of the Miami Heat. And according to Mike here, it's going to be multiple teams now, the same issues going on. We're going to discuss that too. So with that being said, let's get right into it. We're going to get right into the NFL, and one of the biggest stories this week since our last show was the big trade with the Chiefs trading away their wide receiver, Pro Bowl wide receiver, and one of Patrick Mahomes' biggest targets. Tyreek Hill is now gone. He was traded to the Miami Dolphins this week for multiple draft picks, and this is going to really help the Dolphins improve their roster, because on top of that, they also had signed Teddy Bridgewater as a backup quarterback, which I wouldn't be surprised if he gets some time, because Tagovailoa, whatever his name is, Tua.
Yep.
Tua is the quarterback. We'll see what happens. It's definitely a big improvement. I really wish the Bears would have got him, but the Dolphins made that move. The Bears just didn't have enough assets to give Kansas City. And at this point, the Bears are not trying to give up any draft picks. They're just trying to rebuild. So I think it was a good pickup for the Dolphins. I just don't know what the Chiefs were thinking getting rid of their Pro Bowl receiver. Now you got to have weapons around Patrick Mahomes for him to compete.
Well, from what I heard about this was, or read about mainly, is that they gave him the option of what team that that he wanted to go to. His time there, I mean, I wouldn't get rid of him. He's a cheetah, and for number two, when you look at when he was hurt at the beginning of the season, without him, the Chiefs were vulnerable, very vulnerable. They didn't have that guy that could get that spacing and beat you by 10 yards and grab the ball, turn around and give you the peace sign while he's running away. He's a cheater for a reason. I do my very best to keep this man because he is their biggest offensive threat. Yeah, Mahomes is great. He's a great quarterback. That crossbody toss of his is great and all, but when you got a guy like the cheetah on your team, that's a big difference maker. Let's look at numbers. This man had 111 receptions last year, even though he was hurt. Out of 159 targets, 1,239 yards receiving, 9 touchdowns. I mean, he's ridiculous. This is all in one season that he did this, and he was injured for like 3 or 4 games. So that's killer numbers. How do you get rid of that? I don't get it. They did replace. They got a replacement for him, Juju Smith-Schuster.
It's not a bad replacement, but we're talking there's not many 1,200 receivers, yard receivers out there, and I don't understand why they had to really trade him. I mean, was it necessary? They just didn't want to re-sign him, or did he demand a trade? I that's one of the assets where you don't. It's not like
it was about the
Green Bay situation, because in Green Bay, Devontae Adams just didn't want to stay there. He wanted to leave. He wanted to play with his buddy, Carr. But Tyreek, I don't understand why the Dolphins would let him go. Well, the Chiefs would trade him. I mean, if I'm Patrick Mahomes, I go, no, you guys got to keep him.
Yeah.
Do whatever you can to keep this guy, because this is your number one receiver.
Yes, he is.
Now, I'm not saying Juju Smith is a bad receiver, but he's a really good receiver too when he's healthy. And I think I think that will cover a lot of those numbers that they're going to lose from Hill. But we'll see, because Mahomes is a really good quarterback. So this will definitely put Patrick Mahomes on the spotlight, because now we're going to see for him to solidify himself as one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. If he can make receivers into stars, like, make them Pro Bowl numbers while they're on the team, no-name receivers, like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers have done in the past. So we're going to see if this will work with Mahomes. I think it probably will because, he's a really good quarterback. And he's definitely a top-tier quarterback, as we know. I know you don't like him too much. You think the bloom is off the rose, and the NFL's caught up to him, and other teams caught up to him. I strongly disagree with that because any NFL team would lose. Well, any top-tier quarterback would not have the same numbers if he's running for his life because his offensive line was desecrated. So I think that it may fall off a little bit, with their numbers because of Hill being gone.
It will.
But I think Juju Smith, if he's healthy and plays the full season.
Because if you look at last year,
how many games
I'm so happy
how
that
many
you brought
games
that
did he
up.
play?
If you look at, we're talking about health, right?
Yes,
we're talking about health. So last year, this man, how many games did he play? Like you just said.
He didn't play a lot because he only had 15
games,
receptions
15
for
receptions,
yards.
129 yards, and you gave this man a contract based off of those numbers. You're also giving this man this contract based off of the fact that he had Big Ben. They used to toss him these balls when he had Antonio Brown around at the same time on this team. Don't forget, Brown and Schuster used to be the main combo on each side that Ben Roethlisberger had options to throw the ball to. Both speedy receivers, both very good receivers. Juju, no, I'm not taking anything away from him. He's a great receiver, but he's not Tyreek Hill.
He's only 5 years in the league, so he's still young.
Number two, they also have, Valdez-Scantling. That used to be with Green Bay Packers. That was to be another one of Aaron Rodgers' targets. It looks like the Kansas City Chiefs picked him up.
So there
also.
You go.
So
they're spreading out they're spreading out the numbers to try to make up for the loss because it's not going to be easy to replace Tyreek Hill. We're talking about one of the best wide receivers in the league the last several years. So it's going to take some time, but I believe that makeup there will make up some of the numbers on there.
I'm gonna be bold.
I think Kansas City is going to be okay.
I'm gonna be bold. Kansas City, you are in trouble.
I disagree.
Big trouble.
I disagree.
You just acknowledged in the beginning of the season last year when they didn't have Tyreek Hill how they were struggling. They still had great wide receivers.
But they
still had running backs, but they were struggling. So what's the difference?
Like you said, they got Scanlon and Juju Smith to make up the difference. So they're going to make up some of those numbers. Okay?
Do they get the same separation that the cheetah gets?
I do believe. Well, come on now. Mahomes is going to make that separation happen because he is a mobile quarterback,
even though
he's pretty accurate. So no, I know you're saying that's not the case.
Okay. Because
he is a very elusive quarterback and he is very accurate too. So I believe, and when he's on the run, he is scary. He is scary. So he's going to find some of these guys out there that are going to be open. So it's not going to be one player putting up 1,200 or 1,500 yards. It's going to be a combination. So again, I don't think it's going to be that big of a fall off. I think they'll be fine. If they stay healthy, and that's a big if, they stay healthy. The Chiefs are going to be a playoff team. They're going to make a noise in the AFC. So let's not fall apart on that, okay? I know everyone wants to say Cincinnati's defending Super Bowl champions, rightfully so, because they are. But
Super Bowl champions?
This upcoming season, we'll wait and see. But I think they're a one and done team.
Yeah, Rams had it last year.
I mean, that's Rams were Super Bowl champions. I'm sorry. Cincinnati went made to the Super Bowl again. Yes. But I wanted to say, what I meant to say is that Cincinnati, I believe, is a one and done team. I don't think they're going to get back to the Super Bowl next season.
What?
I think they'll be a playoff team, but I don't think they're going to make it back to the Super Bowl.
Did you see how this man performed? He performed spectacularly.
But can he keep it up? We'll see. I don't think they're going to get back to the Super Bowl.
This guy has like one of the best arms in the league. One of the best college games ever. One of the best playoff games ever against the Kansas City Chiefs. Are you serious?
Well,
are you forgetting that game?
Are we forgetting there were some teams that didn't make it in because of injuries? So let's not fall asleep on the Baltimore Ravens and Jackson. He was injured last year, so they're going to make a big noise in the AFC. And the only reason why Cincinnati won that is because the Ravens were not in it. So we're going to wait and see what happens. Because I don't think Cincinnati is going to make it back to the Super Bowl. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying they're not going to make the playoffs. I believe they're going to be a playoff team. But are they going to make it to the Super Bowl? Highly unlikely that they will.
Okay.
I think it will be
the sophomore jitters.
I think it will be the Chiefs and the Ravens that are going to make up the AFC. You know, I'm not sold on the Patriots. I know you are. I'm not. As you can see, they're a first-round knockout. So
one of the greatest minds in football history.
He doesn't have Tom Brady there. He's not walking through them doors in New England anymore.
Mac and cheese to make it to the playoffs.
Mac and cheese didn't do much in the playoffs,
but he made it there. What did Justin Fields do?
Justin Fields didn't have the right players and the right offensive line and bad coaching. I will give you, Bill Belichick is a good coach. But this team, the team he has together, is not going to make any noise in the playoffs. Okay? Those days are over for him.
I don't believe so.
I'm not saying they're not going to do well in a few years, but we're talking right in here and now. And Mac and cheese is not a top-tier quarterback in the AFC. So let's get off that bandwagon already. He has a lot to prove. You know, so he hasn't done nothing.
I think he proved plenty by managing his team and making it into the playoffs.
We'll see what happens. I don't think that's going to happen. But I do believe that this trade should help out the Dolphins. If the Dolphins can't make the playoffs here, with the top wide receiver here, okay, if they can't make the playoffs, then I don't know what else to say about this team. Tua, can he stay healthy?
Yes.
He's going to have to.
That's a good question.
Because he has Bridgewater breathing down his neck if he ain't.
Man, since college, Tua's been hurt. Did you remember his last season? They dislocated his hip. They carted him off the field with one leg, with one hip going one way.
He still managed to put up almost 2,700 yards and 16 touchdowns last season. So he must be doing something okay. If he is healthy, who knows what he can do? He could probably put up about almost 4,000 yards and possibly 30 touchdowns. And especially with Tyreek Hill, I mean, come on. If he is healthy, both Tyreek Hill and Tua is healthy, then there's no reason why that Tyreek Hill can't have, a 1,700-yard receiving year with about 16 receiving touchdowns, and Tua have over 3,000 yards and 30 touchdowns.
When you really look at it, they got a pretty good squad. You got Will Fuller. I know you know him. He used to play in Texas. He used to be one of Deshaun Watson's guys. He's out there, speedy wide receiver. Tyreek Hill's out there. You got Devontae Parker out there. They got a nice little receiving squad, out there.
But they're going to have no choice but to compete because they lost they gave up a lot of picks to Kansas City. What was that said? I was thinking Kansas City has a lot of picks in this draft. The one team you're going to be tired of hearing in the draft is the Kansas City Chiefs, with all of the picks that they got, for Tyreek Hill. But that's what it comes down to. You have aggressive teams like that.
So you're telling me that these are devastating numbers, right? 2,653 yards, 16 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 16 touchdowns, really?
In the limited play.
Quarterback rating.
But the limited play, though.
This man's quarterback rating is 49.7.
Look how many games he played, though.
I'm not leaving Kansas City to go to this guy tossing.
And by the way, the interceptions aren't so bad. It's 10 interceptions is about average. That's only tied for ninth. And
16 touchdowns only?
Look at the interceptions, though.
10
That's not
going to do it for you.
But they have a running game, right? So he didn't play the whole season, too. So we'll see. I mean, I tend to agree a little bit with you that he has to stay healthy. And is he the answer? We'll find out this season. We'll definitely find out.
All eyes on Tua.
Yep. We're talking the 5th round pick in 2020. He hasn't lived up to his expectations so far.
All.
And so he has to stay healthy. You're right. He has not shown a history of being a healthy player. He'll have to prove it this season because, again, Bridgewater's breathing down his back. And so, let me ask you: Do you think he's going to stay healthy the whole year? We're going to see Bridgewater in there at some point.
Based on his history, his health history, and how he stays hurt, I'm going to go ahead and go on the limb and say that this man will be hurt at some point. Again, this is the NFL. People get hurt every week, not expectedly. But him, it's an expected thing. This man will be hurt by week 6, 7, and Teddy Bridgewater will be tossing that ball around, to these players. And hopefully, it works out for Tyreek Hill. I mean, you have mediocre guys throwing you the ball compared to having a future Hall of Fame quarterback like Patrick Mahomes throwing you the ball. I get it. They threw you $120 million for 3 years. Hey, that is a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And that's why he jumped out and said, hey, I'm doing it. And plus, I'm going to Miami. I'm not going to be in Kansas City. I'm going to be in Miami. Tons of stuff to do after football games out there. Taxes are less. Environment's a whole lot better. So,
yeah, what's wrong with Kansas City? Don't they got good barbecue there?
Yeah, tailgaters.
But well, look at this though. Miami is not that bad of a team. They were 9-8 last year with the limited play of Tua. So I mean, with this upgraded wide receiver and offense, they should be able to win 10 or 11 games.
How many years has Tua been in the league?
This is going to be his third year coming up.
Year 3.
Mm-hmm.
Year 3, you said coming up, or he did 3 years?
No, he was 2020, 2021.
Okay.
So this will be his third year, his third season coming in.
Okay. So career-wise, because I love numbers. Numbers define everything to me. This man is not too far off. Completion percentage, 66%. His career yards, 4,467. Like Tom Brady did that almost by himself last year.
He had limited play.
27 total touchdowns in that time, and to 15 interceptions. Well, good luck to you. I'll be watching and I'll be criticizing because I'm not a Miami believer. They got a squad, but the quarterbacks they got just are not going to cut it. I'm sorry.
Well, that's going to be a tough division. I will say this because you got the cream of the crop right now, which is Buffalo in that division.
Yep.
And I don't see them falling off unless they're major injuries.
Josh Allen's going
now, I do believe they could definitely compete with New England because, again, if they're healthy, I believe they can overtake New England.
Miami Dolphins?
Yes.
They just match up with them well because over the past, I've been watching them for the past like 10 years, and for whatever reason, Miami always gives New England some trouble, with the game. So it's just a good matchup. I don't know why it happens.
So I believe that they could compete for that second place in that division. I think that I do think that though they could make the playoffs. There could be 3 teams out of that division to make the playoffs. But we'll see because you got. It may or may not because you got that the AFC North that has Cleveland and Baltimore and the AFC champion Cincinnati in that mix. So they'll compete. They'll compete for a playoff spot, but but they got a lot of competition there. So it could be 1, maybe 2 teams, but probably 1 team will come out that division in the AFC East. So. Anything else? Any more thoughts on the Dolphins and Chiefs trade?
I've let that be known already. I'll be watching them.
Good trade or bad trade for KC? Who does this benefit more, KC or Dolphins?
It benefits the Dolphins more because they're losing Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is a monster. You I know you've seen him play,
of course,
right?
Yes.
He's a monster. Like, how do you let that guy go?
I agree.
Keeping up with him. Who's keeping up with this man off the line? When he jumps off that line, he leaves you behind 5 yards, guaranteed. It's just a matter of you staying in the pocket long enough and letting it go for this man to make a play. And he makes a play. How do you let him go? I don't get it. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully, good luck to you, Pat Mahomes, but you're going to have a hard time without the cheetah.
Well, I kind of indifferent on it. I don't agree. I don't think they should have let him go. They should have, they should have paid him and let him stay. But maybe he didn't want to stay. Who knows? But the Dolphins gave up a lot. So they're on a win now situation because they can't rebuild. So they gave up way too many picks. They gave up their future. They gave up their future for the next several years to Chiefs.
Okay.
To a team, and in a way, it could benefit the Chiefs because all of these picks that they got coming up, they could definitely rebuild around the team. And Andy Reid is a good coach. They got some good scouts to build around him. Yeah. So they're looking at it as KC had to give up. They let go of Tyreek Hill. Okay, but now they have an opportunity to retool their team for the next 10 years. So there's probably a good chance that the Chiefs are going to be competing for at least the next 10 years.
Yes.
So I don't expect them. They'll probably be in the playoffs for the next 10 years. Okay. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're in several Super Bowls the next several years too. So they're building for now and for the future. The Dolphins are building for now. So they're going to have to get everything that they can out of Tyreek Hill. And Tua's got to stay healthy if they're going to compete because they gave up pretty much a lot. They basically gave up everything in a similar situation like Green Bay.
All right.
So
let's move on to some other news in the NFL. Another big, we talked about this our last show, Deshaun Watson and his trade. So today, he was introduced to the general public as a Cleveland Brown. And one of the very first things he said when he got up there is, I know these allegations are very serious, but I've never assaulted any woman. I never disrespected any woman. This is coming from a man that has 22 pending sexual assault charges against him that he has to, confront in court, or has come to some agreement with these ladies that are accusing him of what he did. He has a history of it. He has a lot of history saying yes, and the other ladies also said that they had consensual, encounters with him. But you have these 22 here, and that's a big number. If I had 22 women in this room accusing me of doing something, it's kind of hard to say, you know what, all 22 of these people are lying. I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm not trying to defame him or anything like that. But where there's smoke, there's fire. You got your $230 million guaranteed money, which is the most guaranteed money on any single contract in NFL history. By $80 million, that is a lot.
And they want it.
And he's going to get it.
No. I mean, those 22 women that are they're on the civil lawsuit, so they want that money.
Yeah.
But, we'll see what happens.
How much you want to go with? Each one of them is going to get $1 million.
No, there might be some that get nothing. I mean, there's 22 cases here. That's a lot. Now, I'm not saying that all 22 women are lying. They might be, some of them might be. But there might be some that are true. I mean, it's 22. You can't say that all 22 are lying.
Yeah.
So a couple of them, some of this has to be true. I mean, we know this about professional athletes. Football, basketball, baseball, it doesn't even matter. They get with a lot of women,
A lot of them are groupies.
And
we shouldn't call them groupies.
Yeah, a lot of groupies. And, if this guy actually assaulted 22 women, I mean, what if that is the case, if that really did happen, what makes you think you're going to get away with that, 22? If that did happen. Well,
But why? My counter question to you is this. Why would Cleveland take such a big chance in giving this man $230 million, knowing he has 22 pending assault charges?
Because it's civil lawsuits. It's not criminal. The criminal case was done, so they're not going to get nothing. There's no federal or no state charges where he's doing time. So that cleared the way for Cleveland to go all out to get him. Now the thing about the civil lawsuits, that's between him and those women. They may he may need that $230 million, to pay these women off or to pay his lawyers off or whatever. No, as long as it doesn't affect his play. Now, what my thing about it is that what is the NFL going to do? Because once all this is done with, is the NFL going to suspend this guy or give him disciplinary action? Fine him,
right?
Suspend him for X amount of games,
right?
That's going to hurt the Browns because they're in a win now situation.
Yes, they are.
They gave up a hell of a lot to get this guy, and they're paying him a hell of a lot of money to keep this guy,
whether he plays or not.
Exactly. I mean, his entire contract was guaranteed, people.
That is crazy.
$230 million is all guaranteed. Mm-hmm. And they gave up how many picks to get this guy? We already mentioned this before.
This man never has to work ever again.
Of course not.
Ever again.
But he may have to work again because depending on because what's going to come down to? It's going to come down to settlements. So he's going to settle with some of these women. He may not settle with all of them. Some cases may be dismissed. But he is going to be settling with some of these women. Sure.
I think he's going to be settling with 22 of them.
I don't think he's going to settle with all 22
they're
because
probably going to get $1 million each.
I don't know about that.
22 million.
I don't know about that. I'm going to say
he's still walking away with $200 million.
But I say this though. But I say this.
Wow.
All 22 are not going to get it.
Really?
There's going to be some that are going to be dismissed. Some are going to be dismissed. That's just the way it is. Some of these 22 these civil cases are going to be dismissed. There are going to be some that he is going to settle with some of these women. But there are going to be some that are going to be thrown out. That's just how it is. Because I'm not going to sit there and say that all 22 have a case. Because of course there are probably some that just want to get the money. Let's be honest, they just want the money. So I don't think that all 22 are being truthful. We'll see in the court. But I believe that some of that's going to be thrown out, and some of them are going to get nothing. And there are going to be some where he's going to know what he did with some of them, and he is going to settle because he knows he does not want it all to come out in the open. Some of them are like, you're not getting anything. But there are going to be some that he is going to settle with them to keep their mouth shut, go away, here's some money, go away, and don't come back. And then maybe next time he'll learn, keep it in the pants.
Or, control yourself. Not everyone. I know where you're getting the ladies from. You're getting it from they're basically Instagram models that happen to be professional masseuses also. That's what they do. Of course, their look is part of the attraction. Like, hey, honestly, who doesn't want to get a massage from from an Instagram model like that? I mean, I'm sure that it doesn't come cheap, but it's a massage, man. That's it. That's as far as it should go, unless it is truly consensual. And if I'm a guy like that, like a lot of these athletes, these high-profile athletes, like Derek Jeter. I know it's probably old guy we're talking about for some of you folks out there, but Derek Jeter was a very famous baseball player for the New York Yankees. Kept his nose clean. Kept everything. Stayed clean. Yeah. He had women. This is documented, and you can look it up. This man had women like every night. It wasn't the same, different ones. Every time that he had an encounter with them, they had to sign an agreement saying, this is what I'm here to do. This is what I'm going to the room I'm going to go do. If this happens, it was consensual. All this is laid out. So there is no way that the next morning he's going to be like, oh, you know what? He did this inappropriately, or he didn't do this. He covered his ass while he was doing what he was doing. He was the ultimate playboy. There's a lot of other players that follow the same suit. They have they make people sign stuff. Not even players. Let's talk about Drake. Do you know? I know this is soft for football, but Drake, he's known for that also. He has women sign agreements. A lot of them are Instagram women also. Like his child is with an Instagram model and everything. But look, he had one lady sign an agreement. Say, okay, this is what we're going to do. Yes, we are going to have sex. This is what we're here to do. They did it. He came to his climax, took, his wrapping inside to the bathroom, and he threw mouthwash inside of the condom. He wrapped it up, tossed it in the trash can. While Drake was in the hotel room, this was sleeping, she got up to go use the bathroom and conveniently went and grabbed the condom, opened it, and tried to put the contents in there inside of her. And she in turn got burnt by the mouthwash. She's suing him for this reason also, because she burnt herself she hurt herself with the condom.
You should have just threw it in the toilet and just flushed the toilet.
I mean, this is the extent of how far some of these people will go. I'm not saying that's all women that's doing that, but some of these ladies are looking for a payday. It's an easy payday. If I have a child, he's going to pay for me for 18 years. He's going to be giving me $1 million a year. And, I'm going to raise my child with this $1 million per year agreement, which, I think is way too much to be raising a child for, because I have children of my own. And believe me, it'd take $1 million to raise them per year. You get by, we're human beings, that's what we do. But anyway, back to the football. I wish him luck. I hope that he does settle and he gets to move forward, and I hope that he controls himself from this point on after he settles.
Well, I will say that if he is truly honest and said, I don't know what these women are talking about, I did not assault them or anything, and he did nothing, everything was innocent and consensual and all that, if that is the case for all 22, then yes, I'd fight every one of these 22 women. And I would make sure that if that's the case, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to take it all the way to court. We'll take it all the way. We'll settle all of this. I'm not going to settle with none of you. Because if I didn't do anything wrong and you agreed to this, then why am I paying you?
Yeah, it makes you look bad.
So I'm like, I'm not paying you anything. I'm not going to settle out of court.
Yeah.
I'm going to expose you. And you want to go this route, then I'm going to take it this route. I'm going to have my lawyers expose you, and that's it. Because you're trying to get a quick payday, and I'm not going to let that happen.
Yep.
If that is the case, if you guys agreed to do whatever, and you agreed, I agreed, they did it, and it's over with, and now you want money? No. And if I didn't sexually assault you, then I didn't sexually assault you. The only thing you have to realize is that details are probably going to come out, and if he's okay with that, and he knows, and it's all consensual, like you said, all 22, then why would you fight? And why would you settle?
True.
But if something did go wrong, where he did some kind of sexual assault to these women, and if he did, then yes, they should settle. But here's the thing: if it was sexual assault, then he'd be in jail. He'd be arrested because that's a crime.
Right.
Okay, the civil lawsuit of it is just, I want to get your money, and I don't believe, I'm suing you because you degraded me, and I feel I should sue you for money. That's what it sounds like. Because if he has not been arrested, okay, and been charged and in jail right now, like a Bill Cosby, then he should be in jail. He should pay the price for doing this. But obviously there was not enough evidence, or they decided not to charge him with anything, and they dropped it all. So if that's the case, then the criminal element is gone. So it comes down to, what are you suing me for? So if he
money.
if he did not do any of this stuff, then he needs to fight it all the way.
Okay.
So anyway, we spent enough time on this subject there when it comes to that.
Let's talk about our next NFL move. We also found out that the Falcons, which traded away their longtime quarterback, Matt Ryan, they need to replace him with somebody. I thought they were going to call Colin Kaepernick up, but looks like they decided not to, and they went with Marcus Mariota. To his own name, Marcus Mariota was a great quarterback, and I say was
a great quarterback. You said great quarterback
for what? For look, he was a number 2 pick.
Average, maybe, but not great.
He was a number 2 pick in the NFL. In 2015, he played for the Tennessee Titans.
Okay,
he killed it for the Tennessee Titans while he was there. He did. He was mobile on his feet. I don't know if you paid attention to him then, but I did because I had him on my fantasy football teams. Mobile quarterback, strong arm. At first he was killing the league, and then I think in 2019, remember we were just talking before we started filming this, 2-3 years ago, he was benched for Ryan Tannehill.
Yes, and Ryan Tannehill hasn't given that up since.
No, because he was obviously a better pickup than
exactly.
he was. But
so
look,
you say great, I mean, come on,
okay.
Great.
Okay, so
really?
I might have used that a little too loosely, but the man, he played 63 games over the 5-year period. He passed for 13,207 yards. He had 76 touchdowns as opposed to 44 interceptions. Those are pretty good numbers because we have a quarterback.
That's a lot of interceptions.
Oh wow! Compared to the 76 touchdowns.
Yeah, but that means he's thrown 44. He's thrown 76 compared to 44 interceptions.
Right.
That's a high interception rate.
I don't hear you saying that about Justin Fields here, because
Justin Fields was a rookie. Can we talk about Justin Fields when he's completed his 3rd or 4th year in the league?
I just find it so funny.
I mean, you're going by a rookie quarterback that only played like
so funny
9 or 10 games.
How you always give Justin Fields a pass, but everybody else, look at these numbers, 76 compared to 44, and
He was drafted in 2015. The 15 season, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. That's 7 years. Justin Fields only played 10 games in 1 year.
Okay.
So you can't compare that. We'll talk about if Justin Fields is in the league in 7 years, then you start comparing those numbers.
Okay.
But you can't compare it off of 10 games. But anyway, Mariota is not a great quarterback. He's a serviceable backup quarterback. But he's going to have to be the starter again. He's getting another shot now. He's got another shot here in Atlanta. He is filling some big shoes in Matt Ryan because, Matt Ryan was the man since Michael Vick left there many years ago. And I believe that Atlanta is a rebuilding team. They're not going anywhere. This is a rebuilding move. They just doing that for now because they're probably gonna be crap and trash, and they're gonna have a top pick. If they didn't give it up, they're gonna probably draft a quarterback next season. Okay.
Probably. I mean, if he doesn't
Mariota is not the future of this team. Let's be honest. He's not the future of this team. For next season, maybe, but not for the long haul. No. Atlanta is basically gonna rebuild. They know where they know where they're going now. They're gonna rebuild for the future. Probably have a bad season. Stack up and rack up on the draft picks. Get a top tier number 1 pick and draft a quarterback. That's what's gonna happen.
I mean, they don't have a bad team. The Falcons. I mean,
they're rebuilding. They gave up their franchise quarterback at this point.
He's old, man. I'm sorry. I know I'm old too, but I mean, come on. This is the reason why they let him go because, like you said, he's been there since he replaced Michael.
They were
Michael
7-10 last year.
How long ago has Michael Vick been replaced by this guy?
Oh,
I mean, come on now.
15 years.
That is a long time.
It is a long time
to be in the league.
I mean, they lost out on the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes.
Right.
That's who they wanted.
Right.
They didn't get him. They didn't get Russell Wilson. So they lost on all of that. So they did the best they can. They had to let go of Ryan because he was old, and I think it was sort of the right move because how many more years do you think he's going to give you? He's at the could be the downside of his career at that point in Atlanta. It was a need to change the scenery for Matt Ryan. It was time to move on from him. So they're moving on with the future. They're going to rebuild. They're going to draft a quarterback for the next, probably next year, not this season. They're going to deal with what they got this season. What I think is going to be wasted talent is going to be Cordell Patterson. I wish the Bears could get him back.
Yeah, because we didn't use him right when he was here.
Well, with this coaching staff, of course not.
As soon as he went to Atlanta, you remember, I had him on my fantasy team last year. This man was
I was shocked by the numbers he did put up.
25, 30 fantasy points like every game. This man was getting like 2-3 touchdowns a game. Rushing them, receiving them. It didn't matter. You just gave it to Patterson and it was going to be muddy. But somehow the Bears can figure out what to do with him, but he's over there killing. But look at their lineup, man. You're right. This is
7-10.
This is completely a rebuild team. You got the only names I recognize on here, even from fantasy football, that produced anything. Mike Davis, I recognize him. Cordell Patterson, of course. He was.
And that's it.
And then you have another guy, one more guy. You have Calvin Ridley, which was their main wide receiver. Otherwise, all these other names here: Christian Blake, Frank Darby, Chad Hansen. Carterell Hodge. I mean, these are all names that I am unfamiliar with. No disrespect to you guys, but man, this is gonna be. You're right.
They're building for the future, so they have to take a downslide here. They're gonna be bad. Let's just be honest. They're gonna be bad. But it's necessary for them to rebuild their team because they're gonna try to draft a quarterback next season. As I said, Mariota's not the future. We know this. And that's it. So Matt Ryan's new team that he's going to. What do you think? What's he gonna do?
I mean, I think he's gonna do well where he's going. I think Matt Ryan has, for one, he has the experience in the league. He knows the timing, plays.
Where'd he go to? I'm just mind blanking right now. Sorry.
He went to the Colts.
The Colts, yeah.
For like their eighth.
That's going to help them. That's going to help them out because the Colts.
That's what we said last year. Last year, who did we have? Who they
Wentz,
had there last
Wentz
year?
was not
Carson
the
Wentz.
answer.
They said he was last
We
year.
knew better than that.
Wentz. They said Wentz was going to be the answer.
He was an okay regular season quarterback for the 1 or 2 years he played in Philly. Okay, but. The Colts, wasn't the answer there. Let's be honest. Wentz, I hate to say it, but he's not that good.
Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan will definitely bring a spark to that team. I think he'll put up numbers. Look what he did last year.
Almost 4,000
yards. So I believe he's definitely gonna upgrade their offense.
So again, back to what I was saying earlier.
Change the scenery.
Look at that. 3,968 yards for Matt Ryan last year. Mariota, it is not Mariota. I'm sorry. Who it was Mariota we were talking about for like the time that he's.
You mean Tua?
Yeah,
what
Tua.
you're talking about.
You know, he doesn't have those numbers. He doesn't have those numbers at all. You know,
but man, Ryan is pretty consistent. He stays healthy.
20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. So he had a tough time last year with the 20 touchdowns. Matt Ryan usually puts up a little bit more than that. But he didn't have very much people to throw the ball to. And
he threw a lot of yards. It's just the problem with the Atlanta last season.
They relied a lot on Patterson.
Well, no. He threw a lot of yards, as you can see. What does this tell you? The man threw 4,000 yards but only 20 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. That means that he was throwing a lot of balls, but we're not scoring touchdowns. Okay? They were not throwing for touchdowns. They threw for a lot of yards, but no touchdowns. And the 7-10 record states that, shows that. So, I mean, if you take a look at them, they were giving up. They were only scoring like 20 points a game, whatever. But he was putting up lots of yardage, but no touchdowns to show for it.
Right.
And so that's what happens. And the defense was horrible, giving up 39 points, 30 points, things like that. It's not going to happen. I think he has a better defense around him now in Indy. And I believe that he's going to throw those numbers will probably match with touchdowns.
Yeah, he will.
So instead of 20, he's probably going to have about 30 touchdowns, maybe 35 touchdowns and 4,000 yards if he stays healthy again. That's a big key. So I think this trade definitely helps out the Colts for now because it gives them a Band-Aid to take care of the quarterback situation, and they want to compete now. And what it does for Atlanta is it helps Atlanta out because they're rebuilding for the future, and they're going to draft a quarterback next season.
Look how killer this team is. And that goes to show you just how bad their quarterbacks have been. You got Nyheim Hines. He's a killer. He's a killer. I don't know if you paid attention to him. I had on my fantasy team. He'll get you the yardage. He's a little undersized, but he gets the job done. 5'9". They've got Marlon Mack. He's another big impact running back out there. They got Jonathan Taylor.
Well, let's be honest. The big name that they got is T.Y. Hilton. He's the best guy for that team. The wide receiver.
But they got some other names too.
But he is the man that. This is another receiver that Matt Ryan has.
Right.
He's gonna have like the Julio Jones. He's gonna be the Julio Jones of this team. Okay. And so he's gonna be able to put up yards. He didn't have that last season. Let's be honest. So the Colts will be fine. I'm not saying they're gonna. Well, no, we never know what will happen. Who knows? They could be a sleeper in the AFC.
I think they're going to be good.
I think they might be okay. I think they'll be decent. They only got Tennessee to deal with, so they'll be okay.
I mean, they got Jonathan Taylor, which, rushing yards. What is that for real?
Yeah, 1,800 yards. He's a good receiver.
Are you kidding? 1,800 rushing yards?
Well, I mean, we're getting on Carson Wentz a bit, but Carson Wentz did. I mean, he threw for 3,500 yards and 27 touchdowns. That's not bad. Would you at least say that?
Oh,
that's not 27
bad. touchdowns, yeah.
At 3,500 yards, almost 3,600 yards. That's not bad.
No, it's not.
It's
not. But I'm more amazed by this 1,800 yards and 18 touchdowns for Jonathan Taylor. That is crazy.
Yeah, okay, offense, but I think, I mean, if you're the Colts. This is not a good. You don't think this is a good move to get Matt Ryan over Carson Wentz? Either Carson Wentz did put up 3,500 yards, but Matt Ryan put up almost 4,000. It's just the difference is Wentz had more touchdown passes, and that's because Matt Ryan's receivers they couldn't get into the end zone.
Yeah, well they relied heavily on Patterson.
And they had a good running game. Yeah. That's the main thing that helps Wentz out is running game. If you have a good running game, it's going to help you out. I think overall, if this trade helps out Indy, better to me. Getting Matt Ryan. And with Carson Wentz, where did he go? They just let him go. Where did he go?
No, Carson Wentz is he got picked up by the Commanders.
Oh, that's right. The Commanders. It's going to be hard for me to say that.
Yeah, I know.
Commanders.
Yes, because we can't say the other.
The names. Redskins. I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying the Redskins.
That was the team.
That's what their team was called. And then we came as Washington Football Team. Now they're Washington Commanders.
Yep.
I can understand why they want to get rid of the Redskins name, and that's fine. But the Commanders is just a sucky name. I don't know if I can get used to that.
I mean,
I just can't get used
his
to
numbers were pretty good. Like you said, 3,500 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, as opposed to 7 interceptions. To me,
that's not bad.
That is a good QB. You can't be having 27 touchdowns and then 20 interceptions.
So then why did the Colts give up on him?
I don't know.
Why did they give up on him?
I don't know. Those are good numbers to me.
They are.
His QB rating was 54.7.
I think. Here's what I think would happen. Here's what I think they got rid of him. They got him. They trust him that he's gonna put up decent numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they don't trust him for health reasons. The guy can't stay healthy. So Matt Ryan has been shown he's a pretty healthy quarterback. He doesn't miss games. Carson Wentz, he trips. Oh, my pinky's hurt. I can't play for 5 games.
Yeah.
So I mean, let's just be honest. It wasn't the numbers I think that they traded him. It was health wise. They just don't feel that the guy can stay healthy.
Well, he says that he felt like he was not wanted in Indy.
Oh, you gotta say that because he's bitter because he got traded. The bottom line is the Colts traded you because you're not a healthy quarterback. You put up good numbers, but Matt Ryan's opportunity to get Matt Ryan, who is a more healthier quarterback, who puts up better numbers than you, Wentz. And let's be honest, maybe last year you put up better touchdowns, but overall in the career-wise, let's be honest,
this is
Matt Ryan,
Super Bowl caliber quarterback.
That's going to give you 4,000 yards and probably 30 touchdowns a year.
Yeah.
So let's be honest. I take that pickup, every day of the week and twice on Sundays if I'm the Colts. So I think it's a good move on their part. So that's what I think. But moving on, just on a side note, I know I want to mention this. Another domino falls in Green Bay. So another receiver that Green Bay loses.
Scanlon.
Is that Scanlon. He was one of Aaron Rodgers' receivers, consistent receivers. So now they lost, as we mentioned, Devontae Adams, and I lost Scantling. They didn't go and pick up any top ones. They obviously didn't go and get, Allen Robinson from the Bears. They let him. They didn't get him. He probably could have helped them out. Who's out there still? That they don't be surprised they might get him. But I don't know. Green Bay is more of a traditional franchise. They don't like picking up troubled players. AB.
That guy is not playing in the league again. I'm sorry.
I'm saying, you think if, whatever Aaron Rodgers wants, he gets. So he might talk to Green Bay and convince him to get AB because he puts up the numbers, right? And that could be a dangerous receiver for Aaron Rodgers.
Drama that you just
now, will he give? Well, what kind of drama will he give with Aaron Rodgers? Because I don't think.
Man, listen.
What kind of problem can he give him?
If Bill Belichick can't straighten you out, and Tom Brady brings you in and he takes you under his wing, moves you into his house, and he can't straighten you out either. Nobody is going to fix it.
Matt LaFleur?
Nobody's going to fix it. Matt LaFleur is not going to fix it.
Aaron Rodgers might.
Isn't Julio Jones still out? Like, he's still available, right? I think they just.
Yeah, but how much is left in the tank with him, though?
It's better than what they have right now, because right now he's missing 2 main ingredients as wide receiver.
They don't have the money.
He's lost for how much protection?
They don't have the money. Again,
I just don't see good things happening for Green Bay next year. Yes, they'll probably still come out the NFC North based on what
crappy division.
Let's see what Ryan Poles does for us here in Chicago. If all these moves that he's making turns out to be like groundbreaking and team changing, then yeah.
So the Packers are in trouble? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yes, they're in trouble.
No.
They don't have wide receivers. I know Aaron Rodgers will make anybody a household name. Hell, I can go out here with my walking boot right now, and he'll probably toss me a touchdown pass, and I'll be known for doing that because he tossed me that magical ball. He's going to get his, but he's not going to get the quality that he used to have before. He's going to have to work a little bit harder.
So do you think that what will happen?
He's not going to have the best team. He's not going to have the best record.
Well, look what happened with Matt Ryan. So let's say Aaron Rodgers does put up 4,000 yards.
He will.
But he only puts up 20 touchdowns for the season because he's going to throw the yardage, but he's not going to have the receivers to punch it in the end zone.
Yep.
So he'll put up those numbers, but he ain't going to put up those touchdowns that he put up the last couple of years. With losing a lot of talent there, where is he going to make it up at? So again, they gave him all that money, So Green Bay is stuck with what they got.
Watch out NFC North next year. I think the Bears, with what I've seen going on in Green Bay, I think the Bears have a legitimate chance of battling it out with Green Bay to come out on top. I don't see Detroit doing anything. I don't care what changes they make or who their quarterback is. It's not going to happen for Detroit. Kirk Cousins, your time. I mean, I used to advocate.
He puts up decent numbers though in Minnesota. It's just that team is.
It's not just the team. He has weapons, but he's just, he does
not trust him.
He has these interceptions.
You can't trust him.
He throws these interceptions that are sometimes boneheaded, and it's like, dude, you're better than this, but you're throwing these bad interceptions. So I don't count them doing anything. I see the Bears. If the kid, if the indecisive kid can actually, get his head on his shoulders and make decisions, the right decisions, and get wide receivers the ball properly and not keep running for his life. We're talking about Justin Fields here, then we might have a productive year. But if we have this second-year quarterback still running around for his dear life, even though we've made all these changes to accommodate him, then we're going to be right back in the same bucket that we were in last year. We're still going to be watching Green Bay somehow pull out these games, have better records, and come out as the kings of the NFC North again. But I don't want to see that because, you know what? I felt like Aaron Rodgers was very greedy with that. The man has tons of money. Why do you want that much money? Why do you not want that ring? You've been out there over 10 years. You've got people cheering for you. And somehow, what I care about is the most money. Man, get a ring. Get another ring. You got a ring 10 or 11 years ago. Get another ring because you have been the reigning MVP 2 years in a row. Everyone sees how special you are. Get another ring. You don't need the money anymore, man. I was just watching TV earlier and I saw you on TV on a State Farm commercial. So,
again, what I was going to say about that is okay, yes, fine, he got paid all that money, but I believe what it was, again, is I don't think he wanted to play there. Green Bay said, oh, you know what, we want to keep you here. We're going to pay you all this money. We're going to make you the highest paid quarterback at the time before Watson signed. But actually, he's still the highest paid quarterback. He's getting $50 million a year for the $50 million in the next 4 years.
Yes.
So we're gonna make you the highest paid quarterback. Stay here. Aaron Rodgers didn't want to stay there. He probably wanted to leave. He's like, but you're gonna pay me $50 million. I'm no dummy. I'm gonna keep it. Fine, I'll stay. Pay me $50 million. I'm gonna stay. I don't want to be here, but I'm gonna stay. And that's what I think happened. But we'll see what happens next season because I don't think they're gonna have a very good year. But we'll see. We definitely will see. But moving on, a little bit of some Bears talk here.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be a shorter. We're already 52 minutes in.
Yeah, well, I was about to say. The Bears, just to briefly touch on the Bears, they made a couple of moves here. First, they signed a veteran quarterback, Trevor Simeon, a quarterback backup for Fields. To me, that means that they're going to get rid of
Nick Foles
and Andy Dalton just to have another backup. And that was going to free up some money. I think they should get rid of them both. And then also too with the Bears is they also had to fill in the void when Larry Ogunjobi failed his physical when they signed him. They said they voided that contract out. And they had filled that hole with Justin Jones to fill that void. We'll see how that works with the Bears. And was this linebacker Morrow?
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. The Bears have always been good on defense when it comes to linebackers and stuff like that. The problem with the Bears defense is that our problems on the offense. But did you hear what they're going to try to do though?
What's that?
What the coach is doing, they're trying to get Peanut Tillman as part of the defensive team to try to teach the players how to do a peanut punch and get some turnovers. And they're going to probably try to bring him in
I think that's
as
a great
as
idea.
a team, as a coach in as part of the defense. I think that's a good move. I do believe.
Have you not been seeing that a lot more in the NFL? I've been seeing that. I've been seeing a lot of players running around and just trying to punch the ball out.
Well, he perfected that.
Yes, he did.
Years ago.
Yes, he did.
One on the side note on the Bears, they had I forgot not the Bears, but someone interviewed Mike Singletary. And they said that, the Bears haven't even bothered reaching out to him at all for nothing. It's like he hasn't even talked to them in many, many years. And you would think that's kind of disturbing. We're talking about an NFL Hall of Famer. His numbers retired. He's one of the best all-time greats in Bears history. His numbers not only retired, he's in the Hall of Fame. And he's one, he was the franchise of the Bears for a long time, And I think it's kind of disrespectful that the Bears don't even bother to reach out to this guy. I mean, okay, fine, you're not going to have him as a coach, but at least have him out there as an ambassador or something for the Bears.
Okay, you know how I feel about that man, right?
I don't know. He was a very good player. He's very
in the 80s, yes, but that's a totally different time now. And you see how he was treating his players in San Francisco. He was treating them like they used to treat players back in the late 80s, early 90s, like where a coach used to talk down to a player, because they were the student and you were the teacher. They talked down to the players, yelled at them, cursed at them, said horrible things, to these players to try to motivate them,
No, you're right. So, I mean, we won't spend too much time on this, but the Bears did make a couple of moves, so I do like the moves that they're making. They're trying to get the defense together, to get this offense together, so we're going to see what happens. I like the moves that they're making, so it's all going to come down to the draft. We'll definitely talk about more moves that they make as it comes along, maybe on the next show if they make any decent moves. But before we close out the show, we want to talk a little bit, and I know you want to talk about this, is situation that happened earlier this week.
Yes.
When it comes to the Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler and the coaching staff here.
Yes.
So, Mike, I will let you go ahead and talk about this, and I'll put my 2 cents in when you're done.
So, a few nights ago, I was watching this Heat's game, and man, was it Golden State they were playing that night? And this is what happened. You had Jimmy Butler was sticking, was it Jordan? I think it was Jordan Poole. And Jordan Poole came up to half court, just basically crossed him over, went to the edge, like the very edge. Jimmy Butler made no attempt to try and block off his route or anything like that. He just let him go by, and Jordan Poole just pulled up, popped a three, and he made it, drained it. And this capped a 13-0 run that that the Heat had that the Golden State Warriors had went on. So Spoelstra, of course, was not happy about this. He immediately calls a timeout, sits them down in a huddle, and he's talking to Jimmy Butler as the team leader. Hey, your play's been lagging a little bit. These guys are getting by you. That last play right there, he just crossed you over and popped a three. You didn't even really try to defend him. Spoelstra told him, in this era, we're not gonna win a championship in this era with the way players play it right now with how they're hitting the threes consistently. Butler gets mad. There's tons of Facebook stuff on this, and you can see all the lip readers catching it all out. He actually challenged Eric Spoelstra to a fight, like threatening to beat him up. So Spoelstra was sitting with a clipboard in his hand. He's like, "You want to fight me?" And Jimmy Butler's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, I'll beat your ass." So Udonis Haslem had to step in as Spoelstra's bodyguard, and that's basically what he's there for. He's there as the I think he's the team mascot and the motivator. A lot of people look up to him because of his leadership and his time in the game, his knowledge. And so Butler said he was gonna beat Haslem's ass. And so Haslem's like, "Nah, son, I'll beat your ass. If you say that again, I'll beat your ass. I'll step outside right now." Obviously, that wasn't going to happen. So Butler goes out on the field, on the court, keeps jawing at Spoelstra. Spoelstra ends up throwing his clipboard on the floor at Butler. They had to hold Butler back because Butler was just in a frenzy. Now, man, am I tired of Butler. Butler is a diva supreme. And he doesn't even deserve to be treated like a diva. Because what have you done, sir? What have you done? Besides bounce from team to team, be a diva, act like you're the best thing since sliced bread, and you're not, man. You're not. You were here in Chicago. Hats off to you coming off the bench and making a name for yourself while Derrick Rose was hurt, but you made a name for yourself. We let you go for nobody. Well, we can't say nobody. We got Zach LaVine, which turned out to be a great pickup, but we let you go supposedly on our end for no reason. I feel like you were being a diva in the locker room. They didn't want to handle that anymore. You were moved. Oh, you go back to your old coach in Minnesota. You play over there. You're jawing and yelling at the younger players, talking about their lack of commitment to the team and da 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 da. You come out with your Rolex and your street clothes. You pick up the second squad and you ball out the entire first squad. And then you go home and then ask to leave the team. They let you go. Then you go to Philadelphia. You get matched up with Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons when he was actually at his best, and other players. I mean, Philly was loaded that year. Add Jimmy Butler. What did you do there, sir? Nothing. You got bounced again. Oh, it's because of their commitment to the game. So I think I want to go somewhere else. You know what? They're gonna make me a star that I want to be in Miami. So you go to the Miami Heat. You had a good run. And I think what happened was that finals, when you made it to the finals, was that the bubble?
Yep.
You made it to the finals in the bubble, and you just couldn't keep up because at the end of those finals, you were dragged off the court. I'm not making that up. Go back and look at it.
I saw that.
Zero energy left. They literally had to carry him off the court because he was done, spent. You're not on that level, sir. Sorry. Accept it. So let me finish. I know I've been going on. So this guy here, without Tyler Hero, which is the guy that comes off the bench, I feel cannot win a game. Because you know why? Tyler Hero is putting up the same exact points that Jimmy Butler is putting up per game. The same. They're putting up 21 points per game, both of them. It's not like there's a big difference, but when Tyler Hero sits down and you're only one pouring in 21 and 24 points, that's all you can do. You need the help. But you want to act like you're Michael Jordan, and you're not Michael Jordan. You're not a top-tier player. You are not a superstar. I don't see your picture up here at all. Hell, I see Luka Doncic's picture up here in the new Stars. There ain't no you up there, brother. Sorry. It's just not working. So, yeah, last night they had a comeback game. They played the New York Knicks, and they were up by 20 points. You know what the Knicks did? Jimmy Butler got tired. He didn't have Tyler Hero coming off the bench. Guess what? New York went on a 26-3 run on them in the fourth quarter and ended up winning.
They're getting handled tonight.
And then tonight, need I say more? You know, they're back out there getting treated by the Brooklyn Nets. Right now, it's 105-76 in the fourth quarter. My opinion, being this is a sports opinion show, Jimmy Butler, you are done in Miami. You're going to have to go take your antics elsewhere. And I'm pretty sure they're going to shop you to a bottom barrel team because your attitude is not needed in the locker room. It's not motivational to these players watching you threaten to beat your coach's ass or threaten to fight other people because you have adversity. You're done.
Well, I did not see it. I'm just only hearing about what happened. I didn't actually.
I don't understand how you didn't see this.
But I would say that all of this probably stems from the fact that the Miami is not playing very well right now, and it was probably frustration on Jimmy's part because he's not used to losing like this, you know. And so
Jimmy Butler's line tonight is 25 minutes, 7 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 for 9 2 for 9 field goal. I mean, they're in a downward spiral. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'm just pointing out the Divas numbers.
Well,
Tyler Hero came off the bench and he has more points than he had.
Well, what's happening here is Jimmy is just a little frustrated with the team's performance lately. You know, people are not picking it up. We're not stepping up. And so that's why that's happened. Now, he should not be challenging his coach. I agree with you. You should not be challenging the coach. That's your head coach. You're supposed to listen to him.
Exactly.
And so he's probably frustrated out of frustration, and, you know, I'm pretty sure he probably apologized.
A head coach that has championship rings.
I understand that.
Which you don't have on your fingers. How do you talk to someone with rings and tell them, I'm sorry, did I leave out the part that he told them that they're only relevant? We're talking about Spoelstra and Udonis Haslem, that they're only relevant because of Dwayne Wade? Man, how dare you, dude?
He's just frustrated by the team's performance right
You
now.
got to go.
I mean, they're still a top-tier team in the East, so they're gonna make the playoffs, obviously, and this can all be straightened out. You know, they just don't want the stuff airing out. You know, Jimmy Butler, I know, has a history of not being happy with these teams, but that's because he shouldn't have left the Bulls. And if he never left the Bulls, this would never have happened. You know, and that's just what I think. You know, I really don't know much to say about what happened. I think him and Spoelstra were probably had a heated conversation. They probably, worked it out, and it won't happen again. Now, Udonis Haslem, that guy, I never liked him.
Someone had to step up and help the coach. Nobody else would step
Where's
up.
Where's the Morris boy?
He was sitting down. He was sitting down.
He's Mr. Tough Guy, isn't he?
He was sitting down watching. Haslam had to step up as the voice of the team and as the enforcer, as he always has been on that team. And Butler didn't want that smoke. He didn't want no smoke.
Well, I don't really know what more to say. I mean, Butler is. I still think is unlike what you said. I think he's a very good player. He's had a few injuries this season, but I think he's fine. I don't know about him leaving Miami. I mean, he signed a fresh contract a couple of years ago.
Nobody
He's not
wants
going
that.
anywhere.
They're gonna let him go.
They're not just let him go. They'll have to trade him.
They're gonna trade him away, and he'll gladly.
Well, we'll
go.
see. We'll see if he can get traded because he may not want. He may not want to get traded. They may not want to trade him. I mean, who's gonna pick up the slack? What are they gonna trade him for? To who?
We'll see.
And I'm pretty sure you'd love for the Lakers to get him, right?
No, I don't want him on the Lakers team. He's just gonna bring more trouble over there. He's only gonna bring trouble. He's trouble, man. He thinks he's more than what he really is.
So you know what? I'm gonna ask you.
You are an above average player. I'm not gonna take it away. You are an above average player. You are not a great player. You're not gonna be a Hall of Famer ever.
So let me ask you this then, since you dislike Butler so much. So now I'm gonna put you on the spotlight.
Put me on the spotlight.
So, if we're up to you, who would you rather have on your team, Jimmy Butler or good old Ben Simmons?
How do you? That's not a comparison.
It is. Hey,
that's not a comparison at all.
I'm asking. Answer the question.
Obviously, I'll take someone that's gonna play. I'm gonna take him. But both of them bring the same thing. They're both gonna bring trouble to the team. They're both gonna bring drama to the team. One of them can just claim that he has mental health issues and not play at all when he wants to. The other one, basically, if he doesn't get his way and his shine, then he's gonna tell you that you're not good enough and he wants to be elsewhere.
Oh my God! Look what Memphis is doing to Milwaukee.
All without Ja Morant.
Wow.
This is what then. Can I really quick throw this in? This is what I mean by we can't say Ja Morant, which is a spectacular, great player. Look, I'm pretty sure I put this man onto Ja Morant on the YouTube videos.
No, I knew about him.
You did not know who Ja Morant was.
Yes,
I put him on. I put you onto it with Anthony at your house.
Okay.
All right, stop it. You had no idea who he was.
Yes, I remember him. I remember seeing him in the bubble because he was performing in the bubble in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in the hospital suffering from food poisoning from White Castle. So yes, I remember seeing Morant in there. Okay, and so I knew who he was the last couple of years. Now I did not know he was going to sprout to the player he is now.
Yes.
Now you can sit there. Yes, they're destroying Milwaukee right now. But I'm trying to. I know what you're trying to say.
He's not MVP.
They're not going anywhere without him playing. You can't tell me they're going to breeze through the playoffs without Ja Morant.
Even though they consistently win without him when he's hurt. I mean,
when
when
he
he was hurt,
they
won like 11 games in a row when
he
was hurt.
11 games in a row. Stop it. They won a few games here and there, but they're not. We know they're not going anywhere unless they have him, and you know this. Okay. So,
I'm not saying he's not MVP because I keep hearing a lot of MVP cheers. An MVP when you're out missing from your team.
But he is going to be out because it looks like he's out for the next 2 weeks.
Yes, he is. 10 games.
I didn't know he messed his knee up a little bit there. They're gonna struggle a little bit, and you'll see. But with that being said, anything we need to talk about? Anything we missed out?
Yeah, real quick. We got to talk about a couple of minutes. Kyrie Irving. They got their wish because now he can play at their home game. Yes. So that's a big thing that happened also this week. I'm just gonna throw out the only reason that this happened is because of the New York Yankees. Because the New York Yankees has a whole bunch of players that were unvaccinated and they weren't going to be able to play home games. And they were putting the pressure on the mayor's office. And when they realized, we're going to have like 12 guys that won't be able to play because they're unvaccinated, they went on ahead and changed that rule. So
they were going to change it anyway.
They said they were going to wait a couple more weeks.
They were waiting for the numbers to come. But what you're trying to say is if baseball was still on a lockout,
we wouldn't be seeing Kyrie out there right now. we wouldn't be seeing him out there.
Well, the Yankees are a New York type of town.
Yes, they are. So they make
that's that's the cream and the bread and butter of New York.
And look, since he's been back, he's been on a tear. At home, away, it doesn't matter. Kyrie's been putting up the numbers. You can dislike him for not taking the shot and being selfish, to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, the Nets are going to be in the playoffs. They're going to be a scary team to play against, minus Ben Simmons, because I'm sure he's not going to play.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Ben Simmons is feeling great.
With a ruptured disc?
He doesn't have a ruptured disc. Everyone says that they're using it as an excuse because the man is out of shape. He's not nowhere in no basketball shape. How is this man out of shape?
He hasn't played in like a year. All he did was work
Exactly. So he has to get into basketball shape. So I bet you they're working him behind the scenes and getting him ready. That's what I think. And all of a sudden they'll say he probably has some back soreness.
Yep.
Maybe. But for what? Sitting on the bench all day? Who knows? But watch. I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden his spine tendonitis or soreness all of a sudden clears up. His mind is clear. And just in time for the playoffs. Could you play? Could you help us play?
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to give them much, but we'll see.
All right. Last thing before we go. Bulls. Chicago Bulls. I'm sorely disappointed by them. We started off great. I know injuries. We keep saying the injuries. And injury bug is a real thing because every time someone comes back, someone gets hurt. Someone's knee is sore. Someone's back is sore. Someone's wrist is broken. There's always something happening on our team right now. But we played the Pelicans a couple of days ago, and I was expecting a win out of that. We were actually competing the entire game up until the fourth quarter, but we let some no-name Alvarado. I'm sure if you're not from New Orleans, you don't know who this man is. But somehow he came out and he torched us for like 14 points by himself in the fourth quarter. Dropping threes, stealing the ball, causing havoc on the court on the defensive side and on the offensive side. And we ended up losing that game 126-109. LaVine almost had 40, but that's still not good enough. DeRozan was out.
He didn't play.
He was out. Tonight, we got the Cavaliers. We're doing better against the Cavaliers tonight, but we were up almost 20 points on the Cavaliers, and once again, we're only up by 4, which I'm pretty sure it's going to be a nail biter at the end. Unfortunately, we're not watching it. We will. I have it on record, so I'm going to watch it and have better analytics. But I'm afraid because it seems like all the top tier teams that we played over the last 20, we only won like 2 of those games, man. Which means when we see the playoffs, it's going to be a problem because you're looking at the Bulls potentially playing the Boston Celtics, which, again, is the hottest team in the East right now. You have to admit they are. They've won the most games since the All-Star break in the East. Since then, Jason Tatum has turned on the switch. Brown has been healthy. Everyone's been firing on all cylinders. Marcus Smart. I got to give them their credit. They were in last time I talked about them. They were like 11th place. We were making fun of them. Now they're sitting in 4th and about to overtake 3 if Milwaukee keeps playing around. If we started today, we'd be seeing the Boston Celtics. Am I confident we beat the Boston Celtics? I'm not, because they're firing on all cylinders right now. I don't want to see the Celtics.
Well, I'm not going to spend too much time on the Bulls. The good thing about it, out of all of this, because I'm not going to keep harping on the same issue. They give up too many threes. They don't have any down low defense, and they let no one destroy them. They can't play good against good teams, and they struggle against bad teams. The good thing about all of this is they won a bunch of games at the beginning of the season to get them in the position that they're in to be in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. If they started crappy and played crappy out the year, then we'd be talking about this even more. But they're trying to pull away from Cleveland right now. The bottom line is they've got to get healthier. They got to be consistent. DeRozan didn't play the other night, so they lost against the Pelicans. That was an embarrassing loss, I'll be honest. That's an embarrassing loss. So they have an easier schedule coming up. Cleveland, they should beat Cleveland.
Yeah.
And then they play the Knicks coming up, and then they play who else is after the Knicks? They have another easier game.
Oh, it's not easy. It's the Clippers.
No. Before I think it's the Knicks, and then they play.
We got the Knicks, and then after the Knicks, we got
the
Wizards.
So I said they have a couple of winnable games, and they play the Clippers. And they should, talent-wise, they should beat the Clippers because the Clippers don't have Kawhi Leonard and they don't have George.
Though.
But that game is here, right?
Yeah, our back-to-back games.
But that game is here. They're not going to L.A.
Okay.
So it's good that L.A. has to travel here. Okay. So that should help the Bulls. But we'll see. But the good thing about the Bulls is they won a lot of games at the beginning of the season. The first half of the season. The second half, they are just one of the worst teams in the league in the second half of the season.
When's the last game of the season? April 2nd?
No. It's mid-April.
Okay.
So the playoffs don't start till towards the end of April. So they still have some games left here, but they are they're only 11 games over 500 right now. And they were damn almost 20 games over 500.
Okay. Season ends April 10th. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So it ends mid-April. And when you look at the rest of the remaining schedule, yes, they have the Heat, they have the Bucks, they have the Celtics. Those are 3 tough teams. This will really tell them. And they got them all at home when you look at this. So they got it all at home.
Yep.
So my thing is this: when the hell is Ball going to come back and play?
Well, he's hurt. He's still not.
It's been over 2 months.
Well, you can't rush him back because he's going to get hurt quick again, and he's going to be out for the playoffs. I'd rather him.
Then shut him down. Then
we need
it's
him for
ridiculous.
The playoffs. We need him for the playoffs.
Is he going to play in the playoffs? Is he going to play at all?
Well, we're looking at the end of the season being April 10th. By then, we'll decide. We'll know who exactly we're going to be playing. I'm pretty sure he'll be back by then.
Well, we'll see. I right now, I don't really have a lot of faith in her. Now,
Boston can overtake Milwaukee and the 76ers anytime that they want right now.
I'm just looking at this. How the Bulls are 4.5 games out of that top spot. They were just in that first place spot a month ago. They are 3-7 in their last 10 games.
Yes.
They have got to pick it up. They are giving just as much points as they're scoring, 111 a game.
Yes.
They're giving up 111. So basically, they're a 500 team. When you give up as much as you're scoring, that means you're a 500 team.
Well, we're 57%, so we're closer to 60%.
And right now they are creeping in play-in territory there, because Toronto is only 5.5 games. They're only a game behind. They're only a game ahead of Toronto for the play-in.
Yep.
From 7th. They've got to get it together. They've got to get it together. They've got to win some games to solidify themselves as a top team. They don't want to be in the play-in. This is horrible. We got to mention this. A month ago, we weren't even thinking about something like this.
Yeah.
And they got to pick it up. And it really is no excuse for them to be losing these games. There really isn't. You got Williams back. You got Caruso back. Why are you still losing? Ball is not making that big of a difference. Yes, he's the defender.
Yes.
By 3 points, but come on.
I agree.
Just one player. You cannot. He's not one of the top tier players, and they should be able to withstand that, and they're not. They're not.
Agreed.
So they got to get it together.
Anyway,
I think with all that being said, I think we're pretty much done and wrapped up everything.
Yeah.
We running for how many minutes now? Is this show right now? We're going over an hour and 20 minutes now.
Yeah. Plenty to say today. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this today. There's some more stuff to talk about, but those were the main things that we had opinions about. And of course, we're gonna be following, between today, tonight, tomorrow. We'll probably do another show by Tuesday. I'd say we'll do another show. Talk some more. We'll be more NBA friendly for this time around because we're creeping up on the playoffs coming up and everything.
It's just the free agency in the NFL has been taking over a lot this last month.
So we got to cover that. So
we'll definitely get into more NBA. Whatever top news that happens between now and then, we'll definitely discuss it, and we'll definitely put our opinions, make our opinions felt in here.
Yep.
Before we leave, looks like the Bulls are breaking away here. They're up by 12 now.
12.
Another, But with that being said, thank you for listening, and go ahead and give our plugins.
Thank you again for listening. Thank you for watching us on YouTube. Any questions you have, please go on ahead and drop us some questions or some comments. Listening to us also, We've been picking up some good ground on Spotify. We've been picking up some good ground on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast. You can catch all of us on there. Just look up Sports Opinions with Regular Guys. We're easy to find and easy and great to listen to. Thank you again for your support. Thank you for watching and listening. We love you guys. Show some love back with some comments. And thank you again. See you.
See ya.